The United States and Israel are locked in a sustained air and missile campaign against Iran, while Iran and its regional allies have responded with missile strikes, drone attacks, and swelling uncertainty across energy markets and global politics. In this video, we'll break down exactly what it would take to end the Iran war, what Iran is demanding, what the US is offering, and why this crisis is pushing the region closer to a wider regional war. And perhaps even a global energy shock. If you care about geopolitics, energy prices, and how these conflicts indirectly affect your life, stay with us. We'll go deep, but keep it clear and engaging. Let's start with the current situation on the ground. It's been almost a month since the United States and Israel launched a coordinated warlike campaign against Iran, triggered by a series of escalations that brought the region to the edge of a broader conflict. US and Israeli airstrikes have hit military sites, missile facilities, and even parts of Iran's energy infrastructure, while Iran has responded with missile and drone attacks aimed at US bases, Saudi locations, and Israeli targets. There have also been exchanges in Lebanon, Yemen, and the Gulf, with reports of hundreds of people killed and thousands more affected as the fighting spreads. President Donald Trump has repeatedly said the war is not finished, claiming the US still has thousands of targets left to strike, while also extending a temporary pause on direct attacks on Iranian energy sites to create diplomatic breathing room. At the same time, Iran's national television and officials have laid out what they see as non-negotiable conditions for ending the war. Those demands are now colliding head-on with Washington's 15-point plan for a ceasefire and a long-term settlement. That brings us to the core question. What would it actually take to end this war? The Iranian side, state-run media have publicly outlined 5 core conditions they say must be met before any war-ending agreement can be considered valid. First, a complete halt to all attacks and assassinations directed at Iran or its allies. Tehran argues that years of covert operations, drone strikes, and targeted killings have created deep mistrust, and they now demand guarantees that such actions will stop permanently, not just temporarily. Second, security guarantees against future strikes. Iran wants something close to a written, internationally backed pledge that no coalition led by the US or Israel will launch another large-scale military campaign against its territory. Without that, Iranian officials say any ceasefire is just a ceasefire in name, not in substance. Third, reparations or compensation for damages. Iran claims that Western and Israeli strikes have killed hundreds, damaged infrastructure, and crippled parts of its economy. In their view, ending the war without a discussion of compensation would mean forcing Iran to accept losses with no accountability. Fourth, an end to the war on all fronts. This is crucial. Iran wants any agreement to include not just the US-Iran standoff, but also the conflicts involving Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and other Iran-backed groups. Tehran sees these as interconnected fronts, not separate local wars, and wants the US and its allies to commit to de-escalation across the entire region. And finally, recognition of Iran's authority over the Strait of Hormuz. This is a geostrategic red line. Iran has long claimed that the strait, through which a massive share of the world's oil passes, is under its control, and it wants any deal to formally acknowledge that it can regulate, and even close, shipping if it feels its security is threatened. For the US and Gulf allies, that is a major sticking point. So from Tehran's perspective, ending the war is not about a simple ceasefire. It's about reshaping the regional balance of power, securing Iran's sovereignty, and getting compensated for what it views as years of aggression. On the other side, the United States has put forward a 15-point peace plan that is being shuttled through intermediaries like Pakistan, with the aim of forcing Iran back to a more constrained position. The core of Washington's plan revolves around security, nuclear constraints, and regional influence. The US wants Iran to significantly roll back its ballistic missile program, limit the range and number of missiles it can build, and allow stricter international monitoring of its nuclear facilities. The US is also demanding that Iran stop or sharply reduce support for armed groups across the region, including Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and various militias in Iraq and Syria. In Washington's view, that's what would de-escalate the wider resistance axis and make the region safer for Israel and US allies. Another key demand is the full reopening and safe passage guarantee for the Strait of Hormuz. The US insists that international shipping must be able to move freely.